Anyone can be confident with a full head of hair, but a confident bald woman, there's your diamond in the rough.
Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Farah Fortune. I'm the director and owner of African Star Communications.
Could you tell us about your relationship with hair growing up and what role did it play in your childhood, particularly, coming from a colored community where hair is part and parcel of, the whole beauty and looks and who gets to be where with who?
Growing up especially in a colored community, hair is such a big thing because, I come from the time where when a baby was born, the first thing people would ask is, what kind of hair does the child have? And also, I come from a time where you literally, what determined which school you got into was how far the pencil would go in your hair. So I really do come from a community that puts so much emphasis on having nice hair or having straight hair. And I didn't really embrace my curls till much later in life because, having curly hair at the time that I grew up was very frowned upon, and it was, you're not going to get work, you're not going to be taken seriously, you're not, if you have straight hair, you will look more the part. So it was a very different time. I know now it's definitely not the same, but it was a very different time then.
So based on the pencil rule, which school did you get to go to?
Based on the pencil rule, I still went to a colored school, but I went to more of an upper level colored school. Purely because, the pencil went right through my hair. And also, my dad's dark, my mom's light, I'm very light, but we're 6 kids and I have 3 brothers who are darker and then the 3 girls who were all light. So that was, even when we were young, that was really confusing in terms of the fact that, we just couldn't go into certain stores with my mom because my mom looks very white and she's got green eyes. So, even that, she had very straight hair. And then you'd come with these little colored kids and then you couldn't go in because it was our hair that determined that we were colored. So I think, getting into school and kind of seeing kids that looked like you and then going to other colored schools and then, there were darker skin colored children. At the time, I didn't really understand the concept of it, but as you grow up, you realize apartheid and everything else. And also just in the colored community, how hair determines so much of how your people treat you. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you actually went short, and how short was it, and what led to that first chop?
The first time I went really, really short was because a hairdresser had messed up my hair in terms of the color, and it dried my hair out so much I had to chop all my hair off in order for it to grow back. And at the time, I had a friend who was a hairdresser in training, and she was like, okay, well, if we're gonna have to chop it off, we might as well go the full 9 yards and just dye it blonde as well. And I was like, okay. So it was still quite long on the top and short on the sides. And it took a lot of getting used to for me. But I think it also just started something in me where I realized how much of my hair was my identity.
Everybody knows to go blonde is a typical colored thing to do, right? When you did it with your hairdresser,
yeah.
At any point, because you're such a woman who prides herself in being an outlier, and being yourself. I mean, we know you as the pit bull in heels, right? That's in itself telling of just how unique you are. Did you not feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna disappear into my community and be like any other person? It's the blonde hair that we all do.
I don't think for me at the time it was like that because for me, I think I always stood out in my community because I was a lot lighter. I had a lot of privilege by having a lighter skin at the time, and even if you didn't know you had privilege, people would make you feel that you were privileged, and you could see it in the way the community would treat you. So I didn't necessarily think of my community when I cut my hair, but I did realize that it was something that was very different. And blonde might be the thing, but cutting your hair that short as a colored woman was never really the done thing. So yeah, it was very different. It was a big shock for a lot of my cousins and things like that. But also, I have a mom who has always had short hair that I can remember. I mean, the only time I remember my mom with long hair was when I was very, very young, and I think like under 10 years old. So my mom's always had kind of like a pixie cut. So it wasn't really something unusual for me, but the color, yeah, the color was a lot.
When you did the reveal, the hair's gone, this is your first cut. How did that affect how others see you and how you see yourself, particularly from an emotional and mental point of view?
I think it gave me a lot of strength once I cut my hair for the first time, because it was something I never imagined myself doing. So I took a lot of pride in having long hair, and it was such a big part of my identity of who I was and being feminine with this long hair. So having really short hair was something that changed a lot of things in me. And I think it gave me a lot of confidence at the time, because I'd also just started my business at that time. And I kind of wanted to have this "don't mess with me" look. And I think that really fed into that. So it was very different, but I think it gave me a lot of confidence, and mentally it made me realize that my look and how I looked really determined how I felt so much. So yeah, it really gave me that cocky kind of feeling, because I was like, I don't need my hair to be a woman. Yeah.
Where are you now in your hair journey, and how has that shaped your sense of self?
For a long time, I had I would shave my head and dye it blonde for a very long time. And then I would grow it back long, and then I'd shave it off again. And then I did that for almost 20 years on and off. And for the first time in a really long time, I think in the last 5 years, I haven't cut my hair. Or no, not even the last 5 years. I'd say the last 3 years, I haven't cut my hair. And I really just wanted it to grow again. I wanted something different. I wanted to feel different. And I think also being in this part of my hair journey is just that thing of, I can do it. I can grow it if I want to. Because I think also once you get used to really, really short hair, it is so hard going back, because you can't just jump out of bed and kind of shower and get ready and be out the house. You really have to do your hair. But this is also the first time in many, many, many years that I've had curly hair, and I don't straighten my hair every time I wash it, which is very different for me. So I've had to learn how to cope with my hair, deal with my hair, treat my hair properly, and also understand that also embrace my curls. I never did that before as a colored woman, because I always thought I had to have straight hair in order to make it in the world.
What message do you hope to share with other women who might be thinking about embracing a similar hair journey?
I think my one message I could give to women who are trying to embrace a similar hair journey to mine is do whatever makes you feel happy. For me, being a Muslim woman, it's very frowned upon to have tattoos. So I think if I'd been the person to have tattoos, I would probably be covered from neck to toe in them, because that's my expression. So I've really used my hair as my expression outlet over the last 20 years. And that has really determined so many things for me and how I feel about myself. And I think as a woman, when you decide this is what you want, because we really have to come away from the notion that every time a woman shaves her hair off, it's because she's got a heartbreak. We do it for so many reasons. It could be a trauma thing. Your hair could be trauma for you. It could be your hair's just falling out and you don't want to deal with that right now. Your hair's thinning. You want to cut it. We cut our hair for all different reasons. So you do what you want to do with your hair. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever makes you feel sexy, you do that with your hair. And just know that hair grows back. Hair grows back. If you mess it up, it'll come back.
In closing, you are a girl mom.
I am.
I'd like you to impart a message to young girls who, like myself and every other woman, have been taught that hair is part and parcel of what makes a woman beautiful, acceptable, and just is an extension. You cannot be beautiful if you don't have hair.
I think as a girl mom, one thing I learned very early on is to let my daughter express herself with her hair. For a long time, I also had the notion, especially when she was young, that she needed to have this long hair. And she would ask me all the time, "Can I cut my hair like yours?" And at the time, I had a pixie cut, and I was like, "No, it's not for you." And I shouldn't have made that decision for her. I should have let her do it, because when she did cut her hair, she had this really long hair, and then she cut it to just below her ears, I think, or just by her neck. And she liked it for a while, and then she was like, "No, I want to grow it back." I should have given her the right to choose what she wanted with her hair at the time. And even now she's almost 21, and she still has this really long hair because she loves that. So I think we need to let our daughters express themselves without their hair, how they choose to wear makeup when they're ready for it, how they choose to dress when they can make the appropriate decisions. I think a lot of the time as women, we unfortunately and fortunately make decisions for our daughters, especially, that we think, "Oh, I made a mistake there, so I don't want my kid to make that mistake." But we have to realize at some point that our kids are individuals, and they need to make those decisions for themselves so that they can have their own journeys with their hair, which is exactly what my daughter is going through now.
Okay, thank you, Farah. That's a wrap.